उपस्थित सम्पूर्ण महानुभावहरूलाई म कार्यक्रममा ध्यानाकर्षण गर्न चाहन्छु। आफ्नो देशको माटो सुहाउँदो, हाम्रो देशको सामर्थ्य र स्रोत सुहाउँदो एनेस्थेसिया, अब्स्टेरिक र सर्जिकल प्लान बनाउन सम्पूर्ण सरकारवाला पक्षहरूलाई ओरिएन्ट गर्न आयोजना गरिएको ओरिएन्टेसन प्रोग्रामको आज चौथो तथा अन्तिम दिन। आजको दिनमा यहाँ उपस्थित सम्पूर्ण आदरणीय महानुभावहरू साथै भर्चुअल्ली हामीसँग जोडिनुभएका सम्पूर्ण स्वदेशी तथा विदेशी डेलिगेट्सहरूलाई हार्दिक स्वागत अभिवादन टक्राउन चाहन्छु। म सन्तोष सुवेदी, मेडिकल टेक्नोलोजिस्ट, गुणस्तर मापन तथा नियमन महाशाखा, स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालय। कार्यक्रमको सुरुवात म आसन ग्रहणबाट गर्न चाहन्छु र यसको लागि कार्यक्रमको अध्यक्षता ग्रहण गर्दै अध्यक्षको आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन म गुणस्तर मापन तथा नियमन महाशाखा, स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयका प्रमुख डाक्टर मदन कुमार उपाध्यायज्यूलाई हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। लामो समयको प्रतीक्षापछि, अझ भनौँ ठुलो मेहनत र कसरतपछि स्वास्थ्य मन्त्रालयले स्वास्थ्य क्षेत्रकै एक हस्ती डाक्टरलाई सचिवको रूपमा पाएको छ, जुन कुरा समग्र देशको स्वास्थ्य क्षेत्रको लागि साथै सम्पूर्ण स्वास्थ्य कर्मीहरूको लागि अत्यन्तै खुसीको कुरा हो। आज स्वास्थ्य सचिव श्रीमान डाक्टर रोशन पोखरेलज्यू हामीमाझ हाम्रो कार्यक्रमको अभिभावकत्व ग्रहण गर्दै कार्यक्रमको गरिमा बढाइदिन उपस्थित हुनुभएको छ। म श्रीमान सचिवज्यूलाई यस कार्यक्रमको प्रमुख अतिथिको रूपमा आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। यसै गरी म आयुर्वेद तथा वैकल्पिक चिकित्सा विभागका महानिर्देशक श्रीमान डाक्टर वासुदेव उपाध्यायज्यूलाई पनि अतिथिको आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। यसै गरी म नेपाल मेडिकल काउन्सिलका अध्यक्ष प्राध्यापक डाक्टर भगवान कोइरालाज्यूलाई पनि अतिथिको आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। यसै गरी म मोडरेटरहरूको प्रतिनिधित्व गर्दै, हाम्रो 4 दिने कार्यक्रमको मोडरेटरहरूको प्रतिनिधित्व गर्दै म्याटर्निटी अस्पतालका डाइरेक्टर डाक्टर सङ्गीता कौशल मिश्रज्यूलाई पनि अतिथिको आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनु हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। यसै गरी म निक साइमन इन्स्टिच्युटका एक्जिक्युटिभ डाइरेक्टर डाक्टर अनिल बहादुर श्रेष्ठज्यूलाई पनि अतिथिको आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन अनुरोध गर्दछु। यसका साथै यहाँ उपस्थित सम्पूर्ण महाशाखा प्रमुखज्यूहरू, निर्देशकज्यूहरू, केन्द्र प्रमुखज्यूहरू, एकाडेमियाका प्रतिनिधिज्यूहरू, सहयोगी निकायका प्रतिनिधिज्यूहरू लगायत अन्य सबै उपस्थित महानुभावहरूलाई म यथास्थानमा आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। आजको कार्यक्रम हाइब्रिड मोडमा सञ्चालन भइरहेको छ। यहाँ उपस्थित आदरणीय महानुभावहरूको अलावा आज हामीमाझ स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयका प्रमुख विशेषज्ञ श्री महेन्द्र प्रसाद श्रेष्ठज्यू पनि जुमको माध्यमबाट जोडिनु भएको छ र यसै गरी लुम्बिनी प्रदेशको स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयका श्रीमान सचिवज्यू श्रीमान डाक्टर विकास देवकोटा पनि आज जुमको माध्यमबाट हामीसँग जोडिनु भएको छ। म उहाँहरू दुवैजनालाई कार्यक्रममा हार्दिक आमन्त्रण गर्दछु। Likewise, we have Mr. Alex and Mr. Nikhil from Unitar in our virtual program. We are more than happy to get connected with them in our program. हाम्रो आसन ग्रहणको कार्यक्रम सकिसकेको छ र यसै बिचमा म सानो एनाउन्समेन्ट गर्न चाहन्छु। यो ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ, अतिथिहरूको ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ छोटो समयमा लिइदिन हुनको लागि म फोटोग्राफर साथीहरूलाई अनुरोध गर्दछु। मास्क खोलिदिनु होला कि खोल्ने कि लगाउने? धन्यवाद पत्रकार साथीहरू। हाम्रो आसन ग्रहणको कार्यक्रम सकिसकेको छ। अब म सम्पूर्ण सहभागीहरूलाई स्वागत गर्दै वेलकम रिमार्क्स राखिदिनु हुन यस कार्यक्रमका अध्यक्ष तथा गुणस्तर मापन तथा नियमन महाशाखाका प्रमुख डाक्टर मदन कुमार उपाध्यायज्यूलाई हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु।
धन्यवाद सन्तोषजी। यस 4 दिने एनसोप ओरिएन्टेसन कार्यक्रमको आज अन्तिम दिन। यस अन्तिम दिनको कार्यक्रमका हाम्रा प्रमुख अभिभावक श्रीमान सचिवज्यू, उहाँलाई मेरो तर्फबाट र सम्पूर्ण यो एनसोप ओरिएन्टेसन प्रोग्राममा जोडिनु भएको सम्पूर्णको तर्फबाट म बधाई पनि दिन चाहन्छु। आफ्नो अमूल्य समय हामीलाई यो कार्यक्रममा दिनुभएकोमा। हामीसँग भर्चुअली जोडिनु भएका प्रमुख विशेषज्ञज्यू, लुम्बिनी प्रदेश स्वास्थ्य जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयका सचिवज्यू, डायसमा आसीन अग्रजहरू, यस हलमा उपस्थित हुनुभएका सम्पूर्ण सहकर्मी साथी र विद्वान मित्रहरू र भर्चुअली हामीसँग जोडिनु भएका प्रदेश र विभिन्न निकायबाट प्रतिनिधित्व गर्ने सम्पूर्ण अग्रजहरूलाई यो 4 दिनको हाम्रो एनसोप वेबिनार सिरिजको आज अन्तिम दिनमा म मेरो तर्फबाट हृदयदेखि नै स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु। हामीले अहिलेको कोभिड पेन्डेमिकको विषम परिस्थितिमा यसलाई इन पर्सन गर्न सकेनौँ। यो विगत केही महिनादेखि हामी क्रमिक रूपमा यो कार्यक्रम गर्ने कि नगर्ने भनेर एउटा दोधारमा थियौँ, तर अन्तिममा एउटा हाइब्रिडको रूपमा यो कार्यक्रम हामीले सुरुवात गऱ्यौँ। यो नेसनल सर्जिकल अब्स्टेटिक एनेस्थेसिया प्लानको एउटा सुरुवात मात्रै हो। थुप्रै अझ खुड्किलाहरू हामीले पार गर्नुपर्ने छ र यो खुड्किला पार गर्ने क्रममा आज जोडिनु भएका हामीसँग पहिलो दिनदेखि हामीसँग सँगसँगै हिँड्नुभएका सम्पूर्ण सहभागी अग्रजहरूलाई, साथीहरूलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। यहाँहरूको यो हौसलाले हामीले नेपालको लागि आफ्नै माटो सुहाउँदो नेसनल सर्जिकल अब्स्टेटिक र एनेस्थेसिया प्लान पक्कै पनि राम्ररी ल्याउन सक्छौँ। त्यसको लागि यहाँहरू सबैको भूमिका अपरिहार्य छ र यसले हामीलाई हौसला पनि दिएको छ। आज हामीसँग यो 4 दिनको हाम्रो मन्थनको एउटा जिस्टको रूपमा पनि हामी यहाँ पाउँछौँ र यसमा हाम्रो केही साथीहरूको कमिटमेन्ट पनि आउनेछ र यो सम्पूर्ण कर्ममा हामी सबै एकजुट छौँ। हामी सबैको योगदानले नै आज यहाँ हामी आइपुगेका छौँ। त्यसैले म सम्पूर्ण साथीहरूलाई यसरी नै आगामी दिनहरूमा पनि सहयोग गरिदिनु हुन र सहयोगको अपेक्षा गर्दै यो आजको अन्तिम दिनको कार्यक्रममा यहाँहरू सम्पूर्णलाई स्वागत गर्दै बिदा हुन चाहन्छु। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद मदन डाक्टर साहब। अब म हाम्रो 4 दिने कार्यक्रमको मोडरेटर ज्यूहरूको प्रतिनिधित्व गर्दै म डाक्टर सङ्गीता कौशल मिश्रज्यूलाई हिजो र अस्ति भएको दिनको छलफलहरूको समरी डिब्रिफ गर्नको लागि आमन्त्रण गर्दछु। Dr. Mishra is Director of Paropakar Maternity Hospital and Associate Professor of NAMS, and her topic of presentation is ENSOP Orientation Program Series Debrief, Summary of Key Takeaways.
Thank you, Santoshji. Respected Secretary of Ministry of Health and Population, distinguished guests who have joined us both virtually and physically, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. We are very much honored to welcome you all on the final day of ENSOP. My name is Sangeeta Mishra, and I will be presenting the ENSOP orientation debrief today. Before going to the presentation, I would like to thank UNITAR team, Harvard PG SSC team, NSI team, Champions of Nepal Health team, Pakistan team. We had altogether 6 presentations from all of the team members, which has helped us to improve the understanding about the technicalities of ENSOP development and implementation. So, about the ENSOP orientation, what actually is ENSOP? So ENSOP is National Surgical Obstetric Anesthesia Plan, and this has been started in 2015 at World Health Assembly. So ENSOP, there is an ENSOP framework, and ENSOP framework has 6 components. First one is service delivery, second is infrastructure, third one is workforce, fourth is financing, fifth is information management, and the sixth one is governance. So out of these components, the first one is to generate the idea. So we started to generating ideas. For generating ideas, we tried to put together all the stakeholders who will be involved in the ENSOP. So we called upon our key stakeholders, and the key stakeholder discussion groups consisted of federal and provincial government, EDP and donor agencies, professional societies and associations, and academia and councils. We firmly believe that all these 4 groups, they can add so much in the development of ENSOP, and we tried to brainstorm since last 4 days, and we asked all these people same questions. So the questions were, the first question was, what is your vision about surgical care in Nepal in next 5 to 10 years? So this was the question which was asked for all the 4 groups. Let me tell you that these 4 groups were moderated by total 8 moderators, and we had very extensive discussion all these 2 days, and people joined both physically and virtually, and we had wonderful inputs from all our participants. The second question was, what are some of the current ongoing efforts you are taking towards achieving this vision for surgical care? The third question we asked was, what can you contribute towards achieving ENSOP development and implementation? This was again asked from all the stakeholders, and we had very beautiful answers, which I will come again later. We have compiled all the answers in the points, and we will discuss about that later. The fourth question was, what key action need to be prioritized in order to strengthen the surgical system? Because right now, the way our surgical system or our health system is working, we all have felt that surgery has taken a backseat. We have seen that in some places obstetric surgeries are being done, but orthopedics and surgical surgeries have not been done, which has led to the morbidity of the patient and in many times disability of the patients. So the fifth question was, what are the anticipated barriers or challenges of implementing those actions? And this is one of the most important questions, because once we realize what are the barriers or what are the challenges, this will pave the way for our ENSOP. So the first group was the government sector, and this group was moderated by myself and Dr. Madan. And we had very good discussions. The participants were from all the people from the ministry, hospital heads, as well as from the provincial government. So after discussion, we came out with the points that emergency service should be available from primary level hospital. So when we were discussing this, everybody said that since now we are having 5, 10, and 15 bedded hospital in Palikas, so everybody thought that these services should be started from the Palika level, and emergency surgical services should be available right away at Palika level. Then they said that we cannot achieve all these in a day, so there should be a short-term goal, middle-term goal, and long-term goal. So the short-term goal was mobile camps. So the government sector people, they said that maybe we can have mobile camps for the surgery in Palikas according to the geographical difficulties. Middle-term goal was kind of MDGP deployment. So the short-term goal was which we can do right away, so we should start doing this. And this middle-term goal was MDGP deployment, that we will start producing MDGPs and then we can place them according to the need. And then long-term goal was, I think that is very exciting, which says that we should deploy team of consultants, gynecologist, orthopedician, and general surgeon, as well as along with anesthetist to all these hospitals. The government sector also pointed out that all this care should be accessible, affordable, and they should be available for surgical care. That means that the facility should be there for all 365 days, all 24 hours. So about the second question was requirement for vision fulfillment. So what government is doing? So they said that outreach of surgical care should go to the grassroots level where a strong community trust level should be built. So the idea was from the community trust, we have seen that there are many hospitals in the districts, but when it comes to surgery, people don't take services in the district, they just go to the like better town or to the capital. So they just said the idea was if a political leader or the person who is kind of very well off in the community, they can take services, they start taking their services in the Palika hospital, then there will be a trust building among the community and the people will be more encouraged to take these services. The other thing that came up was very interesting was task shifting and task sharing are crucial. We all know that Nepal is doing task shifting in this, in the terms of like in anesthesia, we are producing anesthesia assistant, we have rural ultrasound programs, we are training our MBBS as advanced SBAs, then we are training our nursing staff to deliver safe abortion care. So the task shifting concept should be more consolidated and it should be promoted. The other thing that came was strategic mapping of services should occur. So by strategic mapping, we meant that hospitals should be placed in the area where maximum people can go through without difficulty and they take advantage. Right now in Nepal, we have seen many hospitals who are beautifully made, their infrastructure is wonderful, but they have not been utilized. And to our surprise, these kind of hospitals are present right in Kathmandu as well. The other important thing that came up was strong referral system should be in place. So once a patient comes to a hospital, it is not necessary that all the surgeries can be done at Palika level or in all these hospitals. So the important point is that we need to stabilize all these patients and to refer them where they can get appropriate, affordable, and required care. Other thing that came was public-private partnership needs to be facilitated. We are doing this in the terms of insurance. Right now, we are offering insurance is being covered by a government hospital as well as private sector, but that partnership needs to be facilitated as well as reinforced. So it comes again with the mapping. While we are doing mapping, we need to map government hospital as well as the private hospital so that we should reach adequate number of people. The second group was EDP and donor agencies. According to the development partners, they just said that surgical and obstetrical services needs to be made accessible, affordable, available. Surgical care is necessary to achieve SDGs. It was again same as government people. So everybody was on the same floor that surgical care is needed right now and it's an utmost priority. And for requirement of the vision fulfillment, they said that there should be a clear referral pathway. So the hospitals actually need to know where they have to refer, when they have to refer, and what should be the channel of referral system. The other thing was universal health insurance scheme should be implemented, and they said that it should be, we should be very rigorously implementing this universal health insurance scheme. Right now in Nepal, I think 75 districts have been covered with insurance, only 2 districts are left, and it comes along with the vision of our donor agencies. The third one is involvement of partner sector, which was again in line with the government people, where we said that we need public-private partnership. Group 3 was academia and council, because we all know they produce the manpower, the human resources, the training. So when we discussed with the academia and council, there were so many people. Yesterday, when I was listening to the discussions, everybody was very excited about it. And they all said that emergency and surgical trauma surgery should be included in ENSOP plan. So right now, as I already said, that our focus has been only safe motherhood, that means only obstetric care, but now we should include emergency and trauma surgery to our plan. And about the requirement for vision fulfillment, they said that we need to do the need assessment. And this need assessment is in the form of human resources as well as about the needs of the particular health institutions. Other thing, they said that health information management with good data is utmost important for this planning. So the health information system, which is already, we have a health information system right now, we are going with DHIS2, so that should be strengthened. That was one thing that came up with the discussion. The third thing was enabling environment for consultants and team. By this, they meant that there should be a clear career path for the doctors who are coming up, who are going to the periphery, and they should know from where they will start and where they will reach. So the people who are going to the rural sector for service, they should actually know where they can reach once they finish their 2 years or 3 years in the rural areas, where they can go. They should, that should be clear. And about the teams, there should be always a whole team should be sent in the hospitals, because it has been our experience there are certain hospitals where you have 7 anesthetists and only 1 gynecologist, while there are certain hospitals where you don't have, you just have an anesthesia assistant, and then you have a surgeon and gynecologist and orthopedic surgeon. So everything should be managed in a team. The next thing that came up was, again, the strong referral system, which need to be emphasized. It's very much important, and we all know that delay in referral system can cause disability and even death. The last group was professional societies and associations. So about professional societies, they also discussed, we had three professional societies like NASOC, then Anesthesia and Surgical Society, and 4 societies, and then orthopedicians. So they all said that availability of holistic, affordable, safe, high quality and timely surgical care at district and rural level is utmost required, which is again in the alignment of providing these care from the level, Palika level. The other thing was proper mobilization and utilization of skilled human resources for surgical care right up to the grassroots level. So they said that we have enough manpower, but they have not been deployed practically. So they should be deployed in a way that they should reach to the grassroots level, so that there should be an equitable distribution. The requirement for vision fulfillment was said that creation of supportive system for practitioners. So all the practitioners who go to the grassroots level or to the Palika or district hospital, there should be a supportive system. And by supportive system, they meant that there should be infrastructure, human resource, other human resource to help them. Like you need laboratory, you need radiological facilities, and then you need hospital bed, and you need a functioning OT. So that was required. The other thing was creating conducive and enabling environment to retain workforce. By this, they meant that there should be some incentive, there should be something so that people should look for, because whoever has done a MD or a master's, they always want to they wanted to go up in their career. So maybe there should be some provision for doing MCH or doing some super specialty. The third thing that came up was providing growth opportunity at rural level. By this, they mean that even when they are in the rural areas practicing, their services should be recognized, and there should be a clear career path as well. So when we sum up all the findings from all the 4 groups, we found out what we needed to do and what were the actions to prioritize. And you can see here that in blue you can see that government sector, according to government sector, they said that cost sharing of health expenditure by different level of government is very important. So you need to share the cost, because right now we have 3 levels of government. So that is the local level and the provincial and the federal system. So federal system cannot do everything. So there should be a cost sharing of health organization by different level of government should be there. When we talked about the EDP, the sum was clear referral pathway and skilled HR should be the priority action. So referral system and human resources was the priority of EDP and donors and the other agencies. Academia and council said that there should be enabling environment of consultants and the team with the good support from the government. And the 4th, professional societies, they came out with creating enabling environment to retain healthcare workers. So when we look at all these sectors, the main important thing that has come up is that there should be a proper infrastructure. You should know how to retain your manpower, human resources, and we should have enabling environment about their career path, how they are going to work, where they are going to work, and what they are going to become after maybe 5 years or 10 years after doing the surgeries in these rural areas. So the priority consensus which all the groups they came up was, first one was trust building. As I already said, trust building is very much important. We can have hospitals, we can do everything, we can have human resource in the place, we have wonderful infrastructure, but if the community is not going to take services in the hospital, everything fails. So the first important thing is trust building of the community, where the community can trust that if they get treatment in the rural hospital, this treatment will be a standardized treatment of care than what they get in Kathmandu or any of the provincial capital. So this is the most important thing to think of. The other thing was physical access, which again goes to the mapping of the infrastructure. So the service seeker who goes to the hospital, it should not be very far, and it should be connected with the road. One important, very interesting thing that came up during discussion was we need right transport and good roads so that patients can reach to the hospital in time. So the road connectivity is very much important, and in this, not only Ministry of Health, but we will need another ministries like Ministry of Infrastructure and Ministry of Roads to achieve this. Third one was strong referral system. Once we have, many of us have worked in this government system or other system since long, and we have strongly felt that sometimes we get cases, they don't need to come to those hospitals, they come to the hospital or they come to the capital, maybe they can come just for an abscess drainage, and sometimes they don't come even for a compound fracture. So we need strong referral system so that the rural hospital, they should clearly know where to refer and whom to refer and in which cases, what are the cases and which cases has to refer to the certain hospitals. So we need a strong referral system. The fourth one was infrastructure development. By infrastructure, we all meant that there should be at least, we don't need fancy buildings, but we at least need a functional OT. We need functional manpower. We need team. Like if you have doctors and you don't have a lab technician or you don't have pathology, it doesn't work. If you don't have radiology, it doesn't work. So by infrastructure, it is meant that you should have everything in place. And by in place, I mean functional. So I would like to add here in the infrastructure development that we are actually very lucky when during COVID pandemic, they have actually devastated our health system, but in some senses, they have actually, it has given us a very good opportunity. So now many of our hospitals, they have functional oxygen plants, they have functional ICUs. So right now, we are actually in a better place. If we could use these resources in the long term, it will be very good for our system. The other thing is enabling environment for human resources. This is again very difficult task, but this needs to be done. You can build everything, but if your human resources are not motivated, we cannot do anything. So while talking about the human resources, government has done something like we are having people who are studying in the scholarship and they are placed in rural setup. But we have disparities. So we need to know how many doctors, how many surgeons, how many obstetrician and gynecologists, how many orthopedician we need for our country. So there need to be a proper mapping and proper need assessment of the human resources. Like we are giving scholarships in a blanket approach. So this is the right time to think, hey, do we need this? So I think this is the time we should go back and see how many doctors we have, we need, and in which specialty. Like, do we need anatomy? Do we need masters in anatomy and biochemistry more, or do we need to increase the number of gynecologists? So we need. That. And another thing from enabling environment, again, I am again repeating that there should be a clear career path, that after serving a certain period in the rural hospital, where do they go, what is the type of incentive they get, how are they going to keep their families, because right now the first practical problem of all the doctors is about the families, because they want their kids to get educated in a good school. And so we need to think all these things while thinking about human resources. And finally, we need to manage our data. Right now, if we try to think about our data is very much scattered. Or even if we get data, that is not the exact data which we need. Like when we were discussing about this framework, the one component that came about what is the perioperative morbidity data. I don't think there is any hospital who gives us a data which says this is the percentage of perioperative morbidity. So we need to manage our data quite well, and this is very important for our further planning. So after doing this, what is the way forward? What we are going to do? So the first thing that has come up with this 4 days orientation workshop, and the first thing which we are going to do is the assessment. So the assessment is about compiling the baseline, because as I already said, we don't have a baseline data about the current status of the surgical care and to identify gaps. Gap identification is the most important, and this is very basic. If we cannot identify our gaps well, our national plan won't work. So need assessment and identification of gap is very important. After this, we will go on to design. By design, we mean we have to draft the plan and receive the feedback, including the situation analysis report. So we will have a preliminary design, and according to that, we will do that situation analysis, what actually is going on in Nepal. The third one is creating a forum. So the forum will be meet for national forum to review the ENSOP plan and develop specific goals. Because if you don't have goals, if you don't have objectives, we cannot reach. You cannot have a blanket statement and strive towards it. So we all need to have a goal. And the final and the utmost important thing is implementation. So by implementation, we meant integrate into national policy and execute plan with monitoring and evaluation. This is very much important. Right now, we all are facing problems with monitoring and evaluation. So practical approach to monitoring and evaluation should be done. And throughout all these, assessment, design, forum, and implementation, we need stakeholders' engagement. And by stakeholders, we again mean government, academia, professional societies, and donor agencies. This is all for now, and thank you so much for patient listening. Thank you.
धन्यवाद सङ्गीता म्याडम। एनसोप तयार पार्नको लागि हाम्रो देशका प्रायोरिटी एरियाहरू के हुन सक्छन् भन्ने विषयमा प्रकाश पारिदिनु भएकोमा नवनियुक्त श्रीमान सचिवज्यूको समय व्यस्ततालाई मध्यनजर गर्दै म यस कार्यक्रमका प्रमुख अतिथि तथा स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयका श्रीमान सचिवज्यू डाक्टर रोशन पोखरेलज्यूलाई आवश्यक निर्देशनसहित रिमार्क्सहरू राखिदिनको लागि हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु।
थ्याङ्क यू सन्तोष भाइ। मैले दुईटा पाटो बनाएको छु। यो पहिले अलिकति अङ्ग्रेजीमा बोल्ने कोसिस गर्छु, त्यसपछि म नेपालीमा केही भन्नेछु। To our virtual participants joining us today from all around the world, in Switzerland, South Korea, the United States, the UK, Pakistan, New Zealand, and other countries, greeting from us here in Nepal. Due to this global pandemic, we are unable to gather together in one place. But I believe that the fact that we are still here, though virtually, is a testament to our commitment towards working together. In the past few days, the Government of Nepal, Ministry of Health and Population, and the United States Institute for Training and Research hosted a multidisciplinary group meeting of more than 100 national and international stakeholders representing the federal and provincial level governments of Nepal, the World Health Organization, bilateral and multilateral developmental agencies, philanthropic organizations, professional societies, non-governmental institutes, and academia and university to discuss the collective effort for a national surgical, obstetric, and anesthesia plan in Nepal. Upon hearing the presentation from Dr. Scott Carlo and Dr. Key Park, expert and specialist from Harvard Program in Global Surgery and Social Change, we fully recognize the indispensable role of surgical care in achieving Sustainable Development Goals targets and universal health coverage in Nepal, and understand the 6 domain and building blocks that are essential to surgical system strengthening. The main objective of this NSOP orientation program series was to simply start the conversation of the importance of surgical care and the process of developing an NSOP. However, the passion and enthusiasm from all who participated has initiated a call to action for the Ministry of Health and Population to define the concrete next steps for advancing surgical care in our country in ways that meet the diverse and unique health needs of our people. Dr. Sang-Chul Yoon and Dr. Rennie Chin from Harvard PGSSC provided us with a clear picture of the role of different sectors in NSOP development. And now it is up to us to clearly delineate the responsibilities and work together in a unified fashion. Going forward, we will identify the gaps in surgical care in Nepal and what action must be strategically prioritized in order to achieve a future in which the quality of life is not impaired by preventable disability, a future where catastrophic illness and injury does not lead to impoverishment, and a future where people can receive the right care at the right time and at the right place. We are humbled and immensely grateful to the UN Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Nikhil Seth, and Unitary Director to the Division for People and Social Inclusion, Mr. Alex Mejia, for joining us today, and we look forward to your involvement in our future collaboration as we develop a national surgical obstetric anesthesia plan for Nepal. म यस एनसोप अभिमुखीकरण कार्यक्रममा सहभागी हुनुभएका सम्पूर्ण महानुभावहरू, प्रतिनिधिज्यूहरू र अधिवक्ताहरूप्रति मेरो शुभकामना व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छु र मेरो आफ्नो तर्फबाट यस कार्यक्रमप्रति आउने दिनहरूमा निरन्तर सहयोग रहने प्रतिबद्धता पनि व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छु। म यस एनसोप कार्यक्रमको स्वरूप संरचना र कार्यान्वयनको लागि सक्रिय रूपमा लाग्नु भएका सहभागी सदस्यहरूले सर्जिकल स्वास्थ्य प्रणालीलाई समग्र रूपमा सुदृढ गर्न गर्नुभएको मूल्यवान सुझाव र अन्तर्दृष्टि प्रदान गर्नुभएको भन्ने पूर्ण रूपमा आशा व्यक्त गर्छु। हाम्रो देशको सर्जिकल स्वास्थ्य प्रणालीका संवेदनशील आवश्यकताहरूलाई प्रतिबिम्बित र सम्बोधन गर्ने खालको देशको नीतिहरू निर्माण गर्न हामी सबैको यो गति तथा निश्चयतालाई कायम राख्ने प्रण गरौँ। यस कार्यक्रमलाई सफल पार्न सहजीकरण गर्ने भूमिका खेल्नुभएका सम्पूर्ण संस्था, एनएसआई, युनिटार र हावर टिम तथा महानुभावहरूलाई धन्यवाद दिँदै यहाँहरूको नेतृत्व तथा परिश्रमको सराहना गर्न चाहन्छु। धन्यवाद। शुभ सन्ध्या।
धन्यवाद श्रीमान सचिवज्यू। Now I call upon Mr. Alex Mejia for his remarks. And Mr. Mejia is the Director at Division for People and Social Inclusion, UNITAR. Mr. Mejia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, distinguished Nepali colleagues, chief specialists, speakers, esteemed guests, and particularly the Honorable Permanent Secretary, Dr. Pocarel. It's a pleasure for us to be able to connect from Geneva. I am at the Palais des Nations in this city, and we admire what the Ministry of Health and Population is doing. So let me say on behalf of our team at the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, and also on behalf of the Global Surgery Foundation, that we have been very pleased to co-host this orientation workshop along the Nepali Ministry of Health and Population. The commitment displayed by all of the participants to reach the goal of developing a robust surgical plan for Nepal is very evident, and we will be the key, and it will be the key to success. We will remain committed to bring it to fruition as well. If I may say, on a more personal note, I'm a former cabinet member from the Republic of Ecuador. I come from Latin America. I'm Ecuadorian. And I mention this because I am well aware of the challenges of first developing a strategic plan that adequately tackles a challenge such as providing safe and affordable surgical care. But second, and perhaps more important, I'm also aware of how difficult it is to take policy or planning to fruition. And the only way to do that, of course, is when all stakeholders join the government in doing this, and then the goals will be achieved. So as a representative of the United Nations, as I say already, you can count on us to be connected all the way to bring this to fruition. Now, I am still surprised every time that I check the numbers. Nepal and Ecuador, my own country in that sense, are rather similar in the path to developments, and approximately 1/3 of the entire burden of disease that is faced by our countries. We already know that it can be properly dealt with through a strong surgical care system. And yet, if we see perhaps from an external view, surgical care remains left on the silence of global health priorities. We must change this. This is why the commitment demonstrated by the Ministry of Health and Population of Nepal is to be admired, and we at the United Nations do so. I should say the same for the engagement of all the participants of this workshop over the past 4 days. It shows that Nepal is bringing indeed surgical care systems to the forefront of health priorities. Thereby, we will be taking a prominent role on the world stage when this plan and its implementation actually see the light. I am sure that very many countries will follow the example of Nepal. I also want to mention that we appreciate the commitment of the Ministry of Health and Population towards achieving universal health coverage. And it is clear from Dr. Madan's presentation on the first day of the conference that Nepal is already well advanced in moving towards what we call UHC. You know, the headquarters of the World Health Organization, WHO, is literally 2 blocks down the road from the Palais des Nations, where I am speaking from. And I can tell you, because we have very many friends and colleagues at the WHO, that universal health coverage is indeed the highest, the top priority. It is also for our UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and for my Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Seth, that will be speaking to you very soon via video. But we also have to recognize that the coronavirus pandemic has derailed our focus on achieving universal health care. We must return to it now that the pandemic, God willing, is decreasing thanks to vaccination and social distance and several other measures. We have to remember that the priority indeed, if you see things holistically, must remain put on UHC, universal health care. From our side, at UNITAR and the Global Surgery Foundation, efficiently led by Dr. Jeff Ibbotson, my colleague, also here in these facilities, we are, on behalf of both, committed to work with you along this long road towards universal healthcare and the development of a strong surgical, obstetric, anesthesia plan for Nepal. I want to conclude with some specific points that I would like to become a public commitment on behalf of UNITAR. My division will always be delivering on what I'm going to say. You see, UNITAR for more than 65 years has been the UN agency mandate for capacity building, training, and research. So here, specifically for the ENSO process and specifically for Nepal, we are committed to offer our support throughout the process from the point of view of capacity building. You can count on us also as a coordinator. We have one of the beauties of the United Nations and what it represents, of our flag, which is an honor for me to represent its neutrality. We are neutral. We don't take sides. We, of course, follow the mandate and the coordination of all stakeholders, primarily the national government. But at the same time, we believe that we can indeed work alongside all of you to provide that coordination in addition to capacity building. We are also well positioned to co-host with the Ministry of Health and Population stakeholder meetings, trainings, and workshops such as this one. We are also able to assist with the capacity building of the ENSO development team, very specifically, if I may say, working alongside our technical partners such as Harvard Medical School, and I must recognize them also publicly. Harvard Medical School and UNITAR, and particularly within Harvard, the PGSSC, the program that you already know, they are a great partner of UNITAR, and I am sure of the Nepal process as well. These will be reflected in a specific capacity building activities for you, the ones participating at these meetings, and also for future healthcare workers that we will engage. Within the implementation phase of the ENSOP, UNITAR and the Global Surgery Foundation can assist with training and capacity building and support local key stakeholders and institutions in upscaling the great work that they are already doing. So I mention this because, you know, when you think of Agenda 2030 for sustainable development and the sustainable development goals, capacity building training has to be understood vertically and horizontally. Vertically from the national level to the subnational level to the local level, to the furthest away community, perhaps to healthcare workers on the field that do need to get trained. But horizontally, if I may say, is also important because it involves very many institutions, actors, and priorities. So both vertically and horizontally, our capacity building is there for you. So to conclude, now more specifically on behalf of the Global Surgery Foundation, we also would like to explore our role in terms of providing innovative financial solutions. The money, all of these things take money, require funds and budgets, and we can also help in that sense. The ENSO development, in reality, when it comes to actually produce tangible things, needs funding. And we can, and we have in the past, worked with major multilateral donors to channel some official development assistance to this type of process. So you can count also on the Global Surgery Foundation on the financial side. And now, as we move to the final remarks from our United Nations Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Nikhil Seth, I would like to commend the entire team on the excellent work accomplished during the workshop, and particularly my respect for your stamina and commitment. We can see that indeed we are reciprocated by your presence there. The pathway forward has been well identified, our resolve has been confirmed. There is much work yet to be done, but through working together in a multilateral approach, our goals are achievable. And with that, on behalf of UNITAR and before the video presentation of my Assistant Secretary General, thank you very much for your support. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Alex, for your nice words. Now I request Mr. Nikhil Seth, Executive Director from UNITAR, for your keynote address. Mr. Nikhil, the floor is yours.
Namaskar, Honorable Minister of Health and Population, Mr. Chairperson, the respected Health Secretary, MOHP, the respected Director General, Department of Health Services, my distinguished Nepali colleagues, chief specialists, speakers, and esteemed guests from around the world. On behalf of our team at the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, we are honored to co-host this special National Surgical Planning Orientation Workshop along with the Nepali Ministry of Health and Population. Today marks the beginning of an important planning process that will help increase access to surgical, obstetrics, and anesthesia care and will ultimately save thousands of lives. As we begin the slow recovery from the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the importance of investing in surgical care has never been more evident. The COVID-19 pandemic has had devastating effects on countries with a severe disruption of healthcare services and has demonstrated that healthcare systems need to be resilient and adaptable so that they can adjust quickly to the needs of disasters such as this horrible pandemic. Through this experience, we have clearly seen how effective surgical care systems can be quickly repositioned to deal with the needs for treating COVID patients. Even before this pandemic, it was clear that nations needed to set a high priority on providing universal health coverage for their populations. Only last month, UNITAR engaged in a call for action for the global community to take up the challenges of addressing non-communicable diseases, which have now become the leading cause of premature death globally. It is well known that surgical care systems are the foundation of treatment for many of these non-communicable diseases, including cancer, traumatic injury, and complications due to childbirth. According to the findings of the Lancet Commission on Global Surgery, an estimated 313 million surgical procedures take place worldwide each year. Yet only 6% of these are performed in the poorest third of the world, requiring an additional need for 143 million procedures annually to bridge this gap. At the United Nations General Assembly, world leaders made a strong commitment to accelerate the progress towards universal health coverage, including financial risk protection and access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable health services. This obviously includes the full range of emergency and essential surgical services. It has been clearly shown that universal health coverage and other important health-related objectives outlined in the SDGs are not achievable without ensuring that surgical, obstetrical, and anesthesia care is accessible, safe, timely, and affordable. Despite this reality, 5 billion people on this world and more than 90% of the world's poor lack access to basic surgical care. The lost economic output in low and middle income countries is estimated to be $12 trillion by the year 2030 unless access to surgical, obstetrical, and anesthesia care is quickly improved. There will be significant investment required to change this data, but the cost of inaction will be much greater. I am impressed by the achievements that Nepal has made over the last decade, particularly in maternal and infant health. Through the efforts of the Nepali Ministry of Health, the maternal mortality rate has decreased by 60% over the last 2 decades. During the same time period, infant mortality has also been reduced by 62%. By increasing access to safe surgical, obstetrics and anesthesia care, we can finish the last mile for both maternal and child health. We look forward to seeing the outcome of this meeting as a clear pathway towards a comprehensive and integrated plan for providing surgical, obstetric and anesthesia care for the people of Nepal. UNITAR and the Global Surgery Foundation are committed to working with all stakeholders to achieve this goal. My particular thanks go to the Nepal Ministry of Health and Population for making the commitment and for taking the leadership in this process. To the Nick Simons Institute for partnering with UNITAR to make this workshop possible, and to the Swedish government for providing important financial support. I invite all of you assembled here today to set your minds on the targets in front of us, to be optimistic and to continue your important work for the benefit of the people of this beautiful country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nikhil, for your nice words. अब म निक साइमन इन्स्टिच्युटका एक्जिक्युटिभ डाइरेक्टर डाक्टर अनिल बहादुर श्रेष्ठज्यूलाई आफ्ना रिमार्क्सहरू राखिदिनको लागि अनुरोध गर्दछु।
धन्यवाद सन्तोषजी। The chairperson of our meeting today, Dr. Madan, chief guest, newly appointed Secretary of Ministry of Health, Dr. Roshan Pokhrel, fellow colleagues, the moderators who moderated the 2 sessions yesterday and day before yesterday, and most importantly, the participants who were here virtually and who couldn't join us, in person also, which made this whole thing more successful. I just want to go back to NSI when it started in 2006. Without knowing that there is this 6th domain of surgical care, I realized that we were doing exactly what was said in the 6th domain of surgery. Back then, 2006, when NSI started, Dr. Mark, who was my predecessor, he used to tell me that they started NSI because they saw the difference between rural Nepal and urban Nepal, or I would say rural Nepal and Kathmandu, was greater than the difference between Kathmandu and New York. And that too, more in the curative service side. So that's the reason why NSI said that they'll work in health, in the curative sector, and they're also supporting the government, helping the government, and not building their own hospitals or whatever and all that, because majority of the rural health care was taken care by the government. Now, looking back, there are 6 domains in the surgical health care. So, like I said, service delivery is the number 1, and there we saw that in the rural areas, the service delivery was there, but it was interrupted. And then we focused, knowingly, unknowingly, we focused on maternal health care, depending on trying to emphasize on cesarean section. And because we didn't have the required workforce going there, then we developed MDGPs, we gave scholarships to MDGPs and who went to these places. So, service delivery, we thought like if we do not give continuous service throughout the year, then it doesn't work. So, mobile camps, like I said, short-term. For short-term goals, mobile camp is good. But if you do not give 24/7 throughout the year service at that place, the trust goes away. Like Dr. Sangeeta said, building that trust is very important. Second was the workforce in our 6th domain. Then we started giving trainings and task shifting, task sharing that we talked about. We thought like, okay, we need anesthesia assistance. So we developed, we helped the government with the National Health Training Centers We developed anesthesia assistant courses, gave trainings to medical officers in this advanced SBA training, where they could also perform cesarean section. And like we said again, we need nurses also who've got training in operation theater, so we gave those training also. So that was the workforce. Then infrastructure also, a little bit, we helped around in the infrastructure because the clinical staff that we put them or we support at the hospitals, they require a decent place to stay. So at some places we help build building quarters for the clinical staff. At some places we developed the operation theater, and we gave also certain infrastructure to help that operation theater functioning. Then I think the fourth domain was information management. We tried to get every month from our doctors at these hospitals, try to get the information from them. Later on, we realized that, okay, we need to set up an electronic health record system also. So just last year, we have set up these electronic health record system at four of the hospitals. Financing. Yes, financing is very, very important, and that's where we come in. We support each hospital to the tune of 50 to 70 million rupees a year, which goes on giving the performance bonuses to the health workers. Some goes in the infrastructure, a little bit on trainings and other. And finally is the governance. I think this is very, very important. So we are in constant touch with the Hospital Development Committee. We are in constant touch with the provincial government and the central government to see that whatever we do is reflected on what the government really wants. So, in fact, without even realizing that it is in fact embedded in the NSOP, we were doing that. But is NSOP necessary then? Of course, it's necessary. That's why we thought like we need to support, we need to help in developing this NSOP plan. So this, like we've already said, this is just the beginning. We need to go a long way. And we think with this support from all the stakeholders, we can only achieve it. We started in 2007, we started at 3 district hospitals. And now it's taken us 14 years to reach 40 hospitals, all the government hospital, district level hospitals. And that too, sometimes we don't have GPs or other people available to run the hospital because of various reasons. So sometimes there's a gap of 2-3 months even. So even in these 40 hospitals, we are not very happy with the HR deployment and all that. Now we hope that with the formulation of this NSOP plan and the implementation and the support and the commitment that the government has taken up, I think by 2030, our vision should be that all the district hospitals, all the primary and secondary A-level hospitals, which should have a functioning OR with the general surgeons, OB-GYNs, orthopedic surgeons, anesthesiologists in all the over 100 district hospitals. If we have that, that should be our goal. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद डाक्टर अनिल सर। पक्कै पनि एनएसआईले नेपालको स्वास्थ्य क्षेत्रमा पुर्याएको सहयोगको कारणले निक साइमन इन्स्टिच्युट सधैँ धन्यवादको पात्र रहिआएको छ। र यसका साथै म नेपाल मेडिकल काउन्सिलका अध्यक्ष प्राध्यापक डाक्टर भगवान कोइरालाज्यूलाई आफ्नो रिमार्क्स राखिदिनको लागि अनुरोध गर्दछु।
I'm going to take it off. Good evening, everybody. Namaste. Respected Chief Guest, the newly appointed Secretary of Health, our chair of this session, Dr. Madan Upadhyay, and everybody else in the dais, and all those participants in person, our moderators and other very active participants, our attendees from Harvard, Geneva, UNITAR, and other countries. It's been a pleasure being part of this NSOP orientation process over the last 4 days here in Nepal. I think a lot has been said about how The process went for last 4 days, and I think we've achieved at least some of the. All right. So you wanted to say something probably not relevant to me anyway. So I think there were very important sessions that were held, and very important feedback we gotten from the stakeholders. As outlined in the debriefing session on the group presentations that Dr. Sangeeta did, I think the most important feedback was taken for how the ENSOP planning process in Nepal should go. And I can repeat that because that's not too much of an redundance. To build a trust of the community in our system, to ensure quick and easy access to health facilities, the referral pattern and the system, developing the infrastructure, enabling environment for human resource, and data management were the most important things that were highlighted. Let me just comment on how the trust is built of the community and the people on the facilities. I think trust encompasses all of those other indicators. Trust is first and foremost that we want to have, but that comes last. Once we achieve everything else, people start believing in the health facilities and the doctors and the nurses. So I think that is something that we need to generate and gain over a period of time by providing quality and safe service. Not just surgical service, by the way. And I would add a couple of other things that we can make note of is trying to prepare right kind of human resource for our country. As you mentioned about the task shifting, which is very important. We may not be able to provide all the specialist surgeons and OBGYN doctors in every Palika level facilities, but I think that needs to be accounted for. And of course, as highlighted everywhere else, we need to be aware of how do we finance all that. Can we all get it from internal resources? Do we will be able to, generate the support of international partners, donors? Those are the things that we need to keep in account when we plan, but I'm sure that will be incorporated when we get there. And, I don't have to kind of repeat everything else that has been said. I'm just happy to be part of this. But let me just add one more point. When we do that, it's not that we haven't done anything. Nepal hasn't done anything. I mean, there are a lot of bits and pieces of this surgical and obstetric anesthesia planning that is in place, but in bits and pieces. I think this is time that we connect the dots. We make a vertical seamless planning from the federal to the provincial to the local level. Similarly, do a seamless horizontal integration of the programs. I myself am a surgeon, and I do hearts. And I do understand how important it is that my nurse is adequately trained, how important my lab giving right reports, how important my radiography service in place. So it's how important my pediatric guys to support in my pediatric cases. So I think when we say ENSOP, it's not just an isolated surgical thing that we're talking about. It is a way of looking at strengthening our health facilities and the system. So I think this is extremely important. By definition, the 1/3 of the burden of disease comes under the surgical domain. As it is, it helps hugely in our health, disability averted, and lives saved, but also in the economy as highlighted by our keynote speaker. So it's extremely important that we look at it in a holistical way. And from the reverse side of it, when we do this, ensure the surgical facilities are strengthened and surgical care is provided, we also strengthen the health system as a whole. It contributes to the national health system also. So with this, I think I thoroughly enjoyed listening to all of these participants and the moderators moderating. I must thank all our external supporters, partners, UNITAR, the Harvard PGSCC, WHO country office, and our Pakistani colleagues who shared with us their experience, how did they do in a multifaceted, multi-tiered government system like in Pakistan. So it's been an honor to be with you, working for sharing experience and knowledge for the last 4 days. I want to thank NSI. I think it's not too much to repeat. You've done a great job organizing this. Hopefully it will continue in future. And thank our Ministry of Health for taking the lead. Myself, and obliged and obligated to thank the ministry, because when we talked about non-communicable diseases 15 years ago, we used to be kind of out of room. And the time has come that we started talking, and ministry is taking lead on talking about ENSOP planning process, and hopefully it will be a reality over the next year or two. So thank you everybody for taking the lead, and with the new leadership of ministry, I'm sure this will go a long way in strengthening our health system. Thank you very much. Thank you.
धन्यवाद डाक्टर भगवान सर। हाम्रो कार्यक्रम हाइब्रिड मोडमा सञ्चालन भइरहेको छ। हामी केही पार्टिसिपेन्ट यहाँ उपस्थित छौँ भने हाम्रा विशिष्ट महानुभावहरू स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयका प्रमुख विशेषज्ञ श्री महेन्द्र प्रसाद श्रेष्ठज्यू र स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालय लुम्बिनी प्रदेशका श्रीमान सचिवज्यू डाक्टर विकास देवकोटा हामीमाझ जुमको माध्यमबाट भर्चुअली हामीसँग कनेक्टेड हुनुहुन्छ। म लुम्बिनी प्रदेश स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयका सचिवज्यू श्रीमान डाक्टर विकास देवकोटाज्यूलाई आफ्ना रिमार्क्सहरू राखिदिनको लागि अनुरोध गर्दछु।
Thank you, Santoshji. Secretary of Ministry of Health and Population, high-level officials from Ministry, health experts, council officials, UNITAR team, Harvard team, Global Surgery Foundation team, NSI team, and many others who are present there in a webinar physically, and respected Mahendra sir, who is joining this webinar virtually. I'm happy to see you all here in this webinar, and it's my pleasure to be a part of this webinar series. After a long time, we are able to conduct this important event. After attending the Dubai ENSOP in 2019, Dr. Bhagwan Koirala, myself, and Dr. Sushil Nath Pakurel were there. We began deeply to think and act for setting the roadmap towards formulating a national surgical obstetric and anesthesia plan in our country, Nepal. This long-awaited orientation webinar series marked an important milestone to orient all stakeholders to the ENSOP initiatives with a commitment from Ministry of Health and Population, and of course support from UNITAR, Harvard, WHO, NSI, and others to make it happen. I would like to thank all the actors, advisors, and stakeholders who has bring this initiative to this point since very beginning. This webinar has been successful in building clear overview of surgical care and support among ourselves and others. I think the national policies, strategies, guidelines, and protocols do favor the initiatives of ENSOP. Its importance has been even accelerating in the context of significant emerging of new diseases, especially NCDs, road traffic accidents, injuries, and complication of number of diseases. People have to wait long, even years, here in Nepal to get the required surgical care treatment done. Before we get late, it's already time to develop a meaningful surgical strategic plan on responding the needs of strengthening surgical care in our country. I do believe this seminar, this webinar has built up a step towards the formulating of a clear roadmap, the final ENSOP. To come up with the national surgical plan, we may need series of different such webinars and consultations for a contextual and comprehensive our surgical care plan. So this webinar has been a key platform, I think, to share and get insights for the lesson learned around the globe. Different countries receive the guidance and valuable comprehensions from the experts the joint effort from government, the agencies like UNITAR, our partner NSI, councils and others have paved a strong commitment towards the achieving the mission of ENSOP initiatives in our country. I do believe the continuation of such collaboration in the days to come will be there. I would like to just recall a few initiatives how the surgical care has been managed in our country. In the federal context of Nepal, the three tiers of government have their concurrent and shared responsibilities for healthcare services. Likewise, in the surgical care services also. The primary healthcare, primary hospitals provide emergency surgical services. We have at least one primary hospitals in each local level. Likewise, the provincial hospitals are providing the secondary level of surgical care with, I should say, limited specialized surgical services. It is envisioned that at least one academia and a tertiary level hospital will be in the provinces. And likewise, specialized and super specialized surgical care services are managed by federal government. This clearly marked that the need for the a meaningful, clear roadmap and plan to ensure the access to quality surgical care services is must in the federal context. We have also the provision of services has been done through task shifting and managing like anesthetic assistant and trained medical officers for cesarean sections here in Nepal. We do have post-graduation scholarship for the doctors, medical officers also. The multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary involvement, including government, academia, universities, research institutions, councils, supporting agencies, private sectors, is also very important to make national surgical care plan. So I do believe that this webinars, coming webinars will be based on the foundation of lesson learned improves provided here, who were physically present and virtually, valuable feedback obtained from this webinar. The next webinar, I think, okay, sorry, I got disconnected. Okay, so I would like to congratulate and thank all of us and thank you for the input, experts and whole team. Once again, I thank Ministry of Health and Population inviting me for remarks in this important event. Thank you so much.
धन्यवाद श्रीमान सचिवज्यू। अब म आफ्ना रिमार्क्सहरू राखिदिनु हुनको लागि आयुर्वेद तथा वैकल्पिक चिकित्सा विभागका महानिर्देशक श्रीमान डाक्टर वसुदेव उपाध्यायज्यूलाई यहाँ आमन्त्रण गर्दछु।
धन्यवाद सन्तोषजी। यस 4 दिन वेबिनार सिरिजका अन्तिम दिनका अध्यक्षज्यू, अभिभावक श्रीमान सचिवज्यू, डेस्कमा आसीन सम्पूर्ण महानुभाव, भर्चुअल र इन प्लेस उपस्थित सम्पूर्ण महानुभावहरू, यस 4 दिनको वेबिनार सिरिजले हामीलाई सर्जिकल केयरमा अथवा यो सर्जिकल अब्स्टेटिक्स र एनेस्थेसियाको कमीले कहाँ ग्याप छ भन्ने कुराको सुझाव प्राप्त भएकै छ। अघि डाक्टर सङ्गीताजीले राम्ररी ब्रिफिङ गरिदिनु भयो 4 दिनको, कहाँ कहाँ ग्याप थियो, कहाँबाट के सुझाव आयो भन्ने कुराको डिटेल उहाँले प्रस्तुत गरिसक्नुभयो र सम्पूर्ण पूर्ववक्ता महानुभावहरूले धेरै कुरा भनिसक्नुभएको छ। मैले त्यस कारणले धेरै डिटेलमा भन्न चाहन्न। तर हाम्रो संविधानले र सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्ट गोलमा युनिभर्सल हेल्थ कभरेजको जुन कुरा गरेको छ, हाम्रो देशको भौगोलिक समस्याले गर्दा, जनशक्तिको डिप्लोयमेन्टले गर्दाखेरि जुन अवस्थामा सर्जिकल प्रपर केयर नपाएर जुन मृत्यु दर हामीले देखिरहेका छौँ, त्यो घटाउनको लागि मैले लाग्छ यो एनसपको प्लानिङले, यसको रोडम्यापले अवश्य नै प्रभावकारी भूमिका खेल्नेछ जस्तो लाग्छ। स्ट्रङ र सस्टेनेबल हेल्थ केयरको लागि प्रपर सर्जिकल केयर जरुरी छ भन्ने कुरा हामीलाई थाहा नै छ। तर कुन लेभलमा कस्ता किसिमको सर्जिकल अवस्थाहरू हुनुपर्ने भन्ने कुरा यो 3-4 दिनको छलफलले ल्यायो। अस्ति एउटा कुरा पनि उठ्यो कि हाइड्रोसिलको अपरेसन गर्न पनि काठमाडौँ वीर हस्पिटलमा आउनुपर्ने हो। कस्ता केसलाई रिफर गर्ने? रिफरल केस त सकभर घटाउनतिर जानुपर्ने हो। स्ट्रङ रिफरल केस हुनुपर्ने, तर घटाउँदै जानको लागि जुन सुझाव आइरहेको छ, जनशक्तिको कुन लेभलमा कस्ता किसिमको जनशक्ति उत्पादन गर्ने र कहाँ डेभलपमेन्ट गर्ने भन्ने कुरा पनि जे सुझाव आइसकेको छ, त्यो सुझावलाई टेकेर मलाई लाग्छ प्लानिङ मन्त्रालयले यसको विषयमा डिटेलमा प्लानिङ गर्नेछ र त्यसको आधारमा दुर्गममा रहेका सामान्य अपरेसन गर्न नसकेर मातृमृत्यु दर जुन बढिरहेको हामीले देखेका छौँ, त्यसलाई व्यवस्था गर्न एनसोपले अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय समुदायहरूको सबैको सहयोगीकारी भूमिकाले यसलाई प्रभावकारी भूमिका खेल्नेछ। किनभने नेपाल संविधानले आधारभूत स्वास्थ्य सेवा, इमर्जेन्सी हेल्थ निःशुल्क परिकल्पना गरेको छ। त्यो पुरा गर्नमा पनि के काठमाडौँमा मात्रै सर्जिकल केयर पाउने अधिकार हो? बझाङ बाजुरामा दुर्गममा बसेका व्यक्तिले के केयर पाउने अधिकार होइन? त्यस्ता विषयवस्तुहरूलाई पनि समेटेर पक्कै प्लानिङ हुनेछ, रोडम्याप हुनेछ भन्ने पनि योले केही न केही पक्कै नीतिगत निर्णय गर्नेछ। जसरी सङ्घ, प्रदेश र स्थानीय लेभलमा जुन सङ्घीय संरचना हाम्रो विकास भएको छ, स्थानीय लेभलमा आधारभूत स्वास्थ्य सेवा सँगसँगै कस्ता किसिमको सर्जिकल युनिटहरू त्यहाँ हुनुपर्ने। हामीले जहिले पनि जनशक्तिको कुरा गर्दाखेरि चिकित्सकको मात्रै कुरा गर्छौँ। ह्युमन रिसोर्स मिन्स टिम बिल्डिङ। त्यसमा नर्सिङ केयर पनि जरुरी छ, एनेस्थेसिस्ट पनि जरुरी छ। अब त्यहाँ सर्जन हुनुहुन्छ, एनेस्थेसियाको मान्छे छैन भने त्यो युनिट भएर काम भएन। हाम्रो यो समायोजनको व्यवस्थापनमा पनि यस्तो ठाउँमा एनेस्थेसियाको दरबन्दी गरिदिएको छ जहाँ सर्जिकल युनिटै छैन। यस्ता कुराहरूलाई पनि व्यवस्थापन गर्नको लागि यो एनसप जस्ताले कहाँ ग्याप फाइन्डिङ भएर यो ग्याप एनालिसिस गरेर कहाँ के कमी छ भन्ने कुरा पक्कै हामीलाई यो 4 दिनमा उपलब्ध भएको छ। त्यो सबै सम्बोधन गर्न सक्नेछ र यस्तो यो सिरिज हो। नेक्स्ट टाइम फेरि हुन्छ कहाँ कमी कमजोरी भइरहेको छ भन्ने कुरा अगाडि जनसुधार गर्दै जानेछौँ र स्वस्थ सर्जिकल, obstetric र एनेस्थेसियाको प्लान बनेर सम्पूर्ण नागरिकले सर्जिकल केयर पाउनेछन् भन्ने पनि शुभकामना पनि दिन चाहन्छु। र मलाई लाग्छ यो 4 दिनको वेबिनार सिरिजले पक्कै यस्ता कुरालाई उपलब्धि गरेर यसलाई अगाडि प्लानिङमा इन्कर्पोरेट गर्नेछ भन्ने शुभकामना सहित सम्पूर्ण टिम जो यसमा इन्भल्भ हुनुहुन्छ, एनएसआई लगायतका धेरै कुरा सरहरू, अन्तर्राष्ट्रियको व्यक्तित्वहरूलाई पनि धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु र मेरा 2 शब्द टुङ्गाउँछु। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद वासुदेव सर। पक्कै पनि उहाँले उठान गर्नुभएका विषयवस्तुहरू यो प्लानमा समेटिने छन् र ती समस्याहरू क्रमशः सुधार हुँदै जानेछन्। अब हामी कार्यक्रमको करिब अन्ततर्फ पुग्न लागेका छौँ र यसै क्रममा म स्वास्थ्य मन्त्रालयका प्रमुख विशेषज्ञ श्रीमान महेन्द्र प्रसाद श्रेष्ठज्यूलाई आफ्ना रिमार्क्सहरूको साथै क्लोजिङ रिमार्क्स राखिदिनु हुनको लागि हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु।
Thank you, Santosh, chair of this webinar, respected secretary, distinguished facilitator, distinguished delegates and participants attending physically and virtually throughout the world. Good evening and namaskar. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thanks to the organizer who have worked very hard for the successful completion of this webinar. In my opinion, this webinar have achieved the targets that we have set. And these achievements were, this webinar has enriched the knowledge and some sort of skills for the participants attending, those surgeons, obstetricians, and anesthesiologists. Definitely they have enriched by this webinar series. And in other words, the policymakers and health leaders are now sensitized for the importance of surgery, obstetrics, and anesthesia services. And definitely that will build some, this webinar will build some roadmap for the preparation of our policy programs for coming days and scale up these services throughout the country. And also the third achievement that I observed is we have successfully implemented the technology, IT technology for this type of training webinar. And it will definitely help us for the coming days, that this success will repeated for the coming days. It is the best one, and we can get the knowledge throughout the world by very simple means that we have successfully completed. So I think these are the achievements. And regarding the surgery, I think this is the heart of the healthcare system. Without the surgical services, I think healthcare system does not complete it. Surgical services not only save the lives of the people, but it prevents from the complication, it prevents from the deformity, disability, and also it rehabilitates from the deformity, disability, and help for the production of most economic human lives. So we cannot ignore the importance of services, surgery services. Surgery services sometimes is the emergency services, basically, and accidents, road traffic accidents, we need very immediate care. And also obstetric services, I think, is the most humanitarian services. We are here by obstetrics. We are here and we want to continue the generation, human life for the coming days. And no one mother should die by the obstetric reason. This is the most humanitarian services. So the importance of obstetric service, I think, is mostly highlighted in this webinar, and our obstetricians have definitely enriched from this webinar series. And anesthesia is another cross-cutting areas, and working with the behind of the curtain, but saving the lives of the people, anesthesia is also very important. And Dr. Bhagwan Koirala, the chair of National Nepal Medical Council, has rightly pointed out the shifting of the task shifting, like in our developing country like Nepal, this developed country, task shifting, we have very good example. We have trained medical officer for basic emergency obstetric care, that CS services. We are providing skilled birth attendant training for 3 months for the medical officers, and they have been able to able for the CS services. And we have produced more than 10,000 skilled birth attendant. And for this, I again congratulate and beg my sincere thanks to all the gynecologists and obstetricians who have been providing this training throughout the country in different big hospitals and supporting these activities. For the task team, I think in our medical field, gynecologists and obstetricians are a little bit ahead than other sectors. So they are doing their very excellent job for the sake of our mothers, mostly in remote and most remote areas. As most of our friends know about the geography of our Nepal, Nepal is very, 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 very much terrible by geography. we cannot, I think in the whole world, we are in very difficult geographical situation. Our remoteness is very terrible. And so this task system has played very crucial role for the saving the lives of the mothers. That we can scale up our knowledge for other countries as well, because we are practicing since very long time. For anesthesia also, we are producing anesthesia assistant. We provide 1 year intensive training to the paramedical workers, and they are now most crucial health workers in most of the remote parts. They are serving as a anesthesia part in the remote hospitals. They are providing services, and that is also, we have very good example. And these are the good things, and I think this webinar has opened our eye the importance of these areas, and for coming days, I think it will be continued. And for all this support, we must thanks to Nick Simon Institute for always advocating, always supporting, and always facilitating, and always establishing the surgical, obstetrics, and anesthesia services throughout the country. And in this very important moment, I also remember Dr. Jim Simon and his wife Marilyn Simon family for their most generous support. They are always happy to support in this area, and hope the coming days will also will have very good support for coming days also. Having said this, I must thanks to our organizer, Dr. Madan and his team for their hard work for this successful completion, managing all the things. And I want to conclude having saying to thanks to all the presenter, all the participants for their active participation, and hope this webinar, 4 days webinar, will be cross-cutting for the development of the surgical, obstetric, and anesthesia services in our country. And I also mentioned that the for coming days also we can utilize these types of forum by IT technology. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, and I want to conclude my words, few words. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद महेन्द्र सर। अब हामी कार्यक्रमको अन्तिम क्षणमा आइपुगेका छौँ र अन्तिम क्षणमा सम्पूर्ण सहभागीहरूलाई भोट अफ थ्याङ्क्स दिँदै यस कार्यक्रमलाई समापन गरिदिनु हुन यस कार्यक्रमका अध्यक्ष तथा गुणस्तर मापन तथा नियमन महाशाखाका प्रमुख डाक्टर मदन कुमार उपाध्यायज्यूलाई म यहाँ आमन्त्रण गर्दै यस मञ्चबाट म बिदा हुन्छु। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद सन्तोषजी। Respected Secretary, Chief Specialist, Secretary of MHP Lumbini Province, Director General, Department of Ayurveda, Chair, Nepal Medical Council, Executive Director, NSI, Dr. Sangeeta, respected moderators, all dignitaries and delegates, in person here and connected virtually. As we are at the end of our 4 days event, this webinar series, I am very much delighted to express my gratitude to all respected dignitaries and delegates present in person, as well as more than 100 participants virtually connected to us. As we know, this is just the start, or this is the first step of our journey for our own native ENSOP. I express my sincere thanks to the chief guest speakers, keynote speakers, the remarks, the participants, the active, constructive feedback, and making this event successful. It will be injustice without paying my respect to Unitar Group, Global Surgery Foundation, Harvard PGSSC, NSI, and Dr. Lubna Samad to make this webinar series successful, and looking forward for the same with the commitment as they had already made in our near future. Last but not the least, I take this opportunity to thank Champions for Nepal Health, who have had been great help in coordinating all the ends of activities in Nepal and being the liaison between all the international partners in this effort. I am very grateful to Department of Health Services, centers and divisions, Ministry of Health, my colleagues from Ministry, and all who are in this hall to make this event successful. I thank you all and want to state the end of this event of webinar series. Thank you.